It's kind of similar to, a little bit similar to what Pisces got, but different cards. But I guess we're all doing that at the moment, seeing what the new paths are, what's kind of, that's death and rebirth, and it's the season of that, very much the season of that. But let me not get ahead of myself. Let's have a look at this. So the Eight of Swords, yes, it can be about fears and doubts. It's that mental trap that we've created. But in this situation, it's very much about there's nothing that I can do. That's what it feels like you don't know what you can do. Maybe the situation changed too much, or you've changed so much now. One of the examples that I've been giving a lot in the challenge readings is if a situation feels uncomfortable, it's because you've outgrown those shoes, right? It's like the shoes are starting to pinch. It's because you've outgrown them. They're too small for you now. So it could be some of that. If that's the case, you're very aware of this, but you don't know what's next. It feels like that. It's like, okay, so I know this situation's not working, and you've got this Queen of Swords coming up with this, which is, she knows what to do. She's fearless. She'll go speak her truth wherever. But it's almost that sense of, yeah, but where do I go? It's almost like I could say, if I said to you, Aries, go that way, you'd go. It's not that you're afraid to go. That's not the point. The problem is, I don't think you figured out which direction to go in or where that door is. You're looking for that path. Very specific. It feels like a personal read, this one. Almost, it would be a kind of question of, Jay, I've gone through all this stuff, but there's like a block there or something. I don't know which way to go in. Things are stuck. Hangman. It's a limbo. Nothing's changing. You're trying to look at it. It's like, you're picking the pieces up, switching them around. What is going on here? You're trying to figure out what the situation is. And the things with her, the Queen of Swords is so amazing because she is absolutely fearless. Absolutely fearless. Why is she fearless though? She's fearless. It's not because she believes nothing bad can happen to her. It's because she believes in her ability to be able to deal with everything. That's what makes her so amazing. And that comes from a very harsh and difficult past, because she's overcome so much. And so have you. Whoever this person or people are that I'm reading for, with death coming up here, you've gone through losses, you've gone through transformation, changes. It's almost like, the light at the end of the tunnel. You've come out the other side of the tunnel, but you don't know what's there. You don't know where to go now or what to do. It feels very much like a kind of bewildered reading here. Like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And it's interesting that death comes up, because that means it's been going on for a while. If it was the Tower and the star comes in after the Tower, obviously that's where we see that new path. So don't worry, we've got amazing energies coming up here. That we see the star after the Tower, but that's a sudden change. This hasn't been sudden. This is some long-term transformation that's happened. Gradual losses, things being removed from your life, like deaths, that kind of death of the old, and you're waiting for the birth of the new, but where you're like, where's the rebirth? What's being born here? And you just feel like your hands are tied. That's not a pleasant energy for any fire sign, especially not for Aries. So I feel you guys on that. But let's have a look. So I'm going to get one for the Hanged Man. I'll tell you why I think you can't see it. It's because you've gone through so much. You've gone through so much with death that you're still looking for the same kinds of things, but they don't mean anything to you anymore. I'll give you an example. So I used to work corporate, and then I got very ill. I was very ill for 7 years. And my only dream in that 7 years was to go back to work, to go back into the corporate world. And I did. I managed to do it. Went back, and I felt like a fish out of water. Like it was, I didn't understand it, because it was an old dream, but it wasn't in line with all the changes that I had been through. I had been through too much now. And, that kind of situation, I mean, it wasn't easy for me. I didn't change it. I was like, oh, what else can I do? I'm only trained to do corporate. So I got ill again. I was kind of rescued. Now I see it as a rescue. Then I hated it because I was doing this. Well, I can't do anything else. I'm only trained in corporate. I didn't see doing tarot, even though I'd been doing tarot the whole time before that. I didn't see it as a full-time job until I changed my perspective, until I realized this is a belief system, my philosophy. So that's the example. I'll give you that example. That's from way back in my past. But, with the Hangman coming up here, I was like, that doesn't even matter to me anymore. I don't want that corporate life. I don't want that office life. I don't care about any of that stuff. because the Hanged Man leaves something up there, something that he connected with before, because now he realizes that his philosophy has changed, his view of the world has changed. That's the change in perspective. And once he comes down, he's going to get moving again. You know, things will get moving, but where? And that's the thing. I feel like November is where you find your direction, you find where you're going, or what it is that you want to create here. For some of you, this is around work. This is what you want. This is what you want. You want to focus on something. You want to look at him. Let's look at what he's doing. He's been up all night working. You know, he's been up all night. The candles have burnt down. It's daylight outside, so he doesn't need the candles. So they've obviously been lit all night, and yet he's still working away. That's what you want. And the Eight of Pentacles is working towards our long-term security and stability. Two things come up around this. Firstly, if this is around the kind of work that you want to do, and I say that because the Ace of Pentacles can be a new way of making money, very much like that example I gave of me in corporate world and what I do now. It could be something like that, that what you considered as, this is what I enjoy doing, this is what I love doing, that has changed. With that death energy, everything's changed. That's the thing. When death rolls through town, nothing is the same again. The other thing is, if this is around a relationship or a situation, whether that's family, friends, lover, whatever it is, you've got to this place where you're trying to figure out if it's worth more effort, if it's worth you putting more effort into this, if this truly is your long-term security and stability. Like, do I show up and do this? And that's tricky, because with the Eight of Swords there, you don't know if you can do anymore. Whenever you get the King or Queen of Swords in a reading, they have no problem making a decision. That's one thing they are very good at. When the King and Queen of Wands show up, you know they're going to take action. But the Swords ones, that sword's going to fall and drop and cut whatever needs to be cut out. The decision will be made always when you get the King and Queen of Swords, and you got the Queen of Swords there. So she's not, I know you're not afraid to make a decision. It's almost, but you don't see the options. That's the problem here. You don't know which direction to go in. I think you'd go in that direction. But the thing is, let's have a look at this one. But how are you going to see it? She's blindfolded. She's blindfolded. Her hands are tied. She's blindfolded, so you won't see it. And that's why I'm really strongly getting that you're not seeing something here. I know that's almost impossible. It's like, how do you see what you can't see? How do you see what you can't see? Well, if you can't see it, then what would you like it to be? What would you like it to be? That's always a beautiful place to start. What would you like it to be? Excuse me. Now, one of the things how I would approach that is, and I do that with a lot of people, they say, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know where I'm going. So what sucks right now? Let's just start there. Let's just get real. What sucks right now? Eight of Swords. What sucks? What's the opposite of that? That might be a place to start. Then you can look at that and say, well, I don't actually, I'm single, but I don't really know if I want a relationship. Then, so that, if that's the opposite of being single, if that's, I'm by myself, because she is by herself, the Queen of Swords, she's very good at being by herself. But, sometimes it's that you might look at what's the opposite of being single. Oh, it's being in a relationship. Do I want to be in a relationship? No. So then maybe it's, I need to have a social life. I need to go connect with more people. Do you see what I mean? That's a place to start. It doesn't mean that's what you do. That you go do the opposite of whatever it is that you're stuck in. There's always something, and that's the Eight of Swords, what it says. If you can't make big changes right now, and that's the frustrating aspect of this. You've got the Queen of Swords here. She's ready to make the big changes. She's ready to speak her truth. And you've changed. That's the problem. It's not the problem, that's the thing here. You're getting to know yourself. What are the new things that you want to do? What are the new things that you would commit to? What do you enjoy doing? What is of worth to you? What do you believe in? There's been this great scrapping that's been going on in your life. I mean, when death rolls through town, it's almost like, what's next? Is someone going to come and take the shirt off my back? It's that kind of a feeling. Now, the beauty of that is that you're left with a blank canvas. A blank canvas. But the kind of downside of that is that you're almost at this place where you don't even know what to draw. You've got all the paint, you've got everything. It's like, I don't know what to draw. I don't know what to paint on this blank canvas. November resolves that for you. November resolves that for you. Why do I say that? Because we have the star in the present, and that's the main energy for the month. I always go by the present. Although tarot timings are strange. You could be, some of you are still here experiencing this. Some of you have already seen this and you're ready to move forward. We're all where we are, wherever we are. No, there's no ahead or behind. We just are where we are. And so with the star coming up here, this is, first of all, remember to look up. Remember to look up. When the towers happened, and it's number 17, the card before the star is the tower, number 16, even though in this case we've got death coming up. We can be so focused on everything that we've lost, and this could be a fear then of, I don't want to lose more. If I come forward and say who I truly am, will I lose even more? And it's the new version of you that sees this, the star. Now, there are so many stars in the night sky. Who decides which one is your star? You do. You decide it's that. But have you ever been, when you're stuck in one place for so long, this happens to me sometimes. I don't know if it's ever happened to you, when I could be in a situation and it's not the situation that freaks me out. Not exactly. I start having a reaction to it in some way. And it's whatever my reaction is, that's what freaks me out. And let me explain that, because I don't think I'm explaining it very well. What I mean by that is, it's like I'm ready to go, ready to speak my truth, ready to make a decision, ready to do this. But I can't see what I'm meant to decide or which way to go. And it's the fact that you can't see it. That's what's started to now freak you out. And that's what started to cause the spiral. You're actually in a good place. But it's the lack of direction. It's the lack of where to direct all of this stuff. That's causing the kind of this 8 of Swords energy. That we come into the month with. So we're good with that. We're good with this energy because we're not going to stay here. That's where we start off. But as I said, when I pull the 8 of Swords, whatever you get with that is going to flavor it. She's perfect to have with that. She's not going to put up with that for too long. And so, and another thing I will say, if you don't know which direction to go in any direction. Go in any direction. Make a small change, something tiny, something small, because it feels like it opens up into something bigger. Now, another reason that you may not be seeing your star or where you're meant to go, this is a card of fate and destiny, right? Big words. It's written in the stars. Reach for the sky. It's that kind of, the sky. It's massive. The star is massive energy. It's healing energy. But think about that. If you were kind of looking for, okay, well, I'm waiting for a new job. I'll go look for a new job or something like small. You're looking for something small. You won't notice the big thing because you're not looking for a big thing, right? And that's what I feel about this blindfolded, because you are looking. I know you're looking, but you aren't looking up. Like, it's so big, you don't see it. You don't see it. It's almost like, that thing of, where's the volcano? There's meant to be a volcano around here somewhere. But it's so big, you're standing in the kind of crater of whatever. Not in the crater of the volcano, but you know what I mean. It's so big that you don't realize that you're actually on it. You're actually on it. Or like where there's been a meteor strike. That's what I'm actually thinking of. And it's a huge crater, but you're looking for the crater, expecting it to be kind of small and that you'll see it from a distance. But it's miles wide. And so you're standing in the middle of it. And that's what this feels like. It's there, but you just don't see it. But the more you figure out what has meaning to you now after this death, I mean, there's almost like a sense of temperance here. That's what we need. Now, for anyone else, the 5 of Wands may have a different meaning, whatever. But for you guys in particular, coming out of this, I can't do anything. That's what you want. Something to get those limbs moving, to get those hands going, to get those legs going. It's that kind of, I need movement. Let me start doing something. And the 5 of Wands, it's a challenge. I think any kind of challenge right now. And not this kind of a challenge. I mean, something that you physically do. I've talked to a lot of my Aries clients when there's people that have Aries placements, in that, a lot of the time, the way that I meditate, I don't sit and, I can't sit and meditate. That you get restless. I do it sometimes. I can sit and listen to music or do something, but there's always like an active component to it. There was someone, I think, on the Sagittarius read, or maybe it was one of the Scorpio season challenges, a Leo with Sagittarius energy, fire energy. They said the same. They don't meditate, but they listen to drum and bass music. Same as me. That's what I do. And so when I need to meditate or zone out or get deep, I will go on the treadmill, or I'll go for a run, or, you know, something that clears my head. And with fire energy, it's movement that does it. Fire never sits still. Fire is always moving. And I think anything that represents even if it's a little, something small, it doesn't have to be anything massive. Something small. Because that being stagnant, that's what's kind of doing you in. That's what's doing your head in right now, is that everything's so stagnant. Where am I going? What am I doing? And some tiny movement. So the Five of Wands, it's a challenge. But something that's productive. It's not the Five of Swords. It's which can be kind of ruthless and harsh. The Five of Wands, it's productive. It's a challenge that we get something out of it. And I think you'd get something really out of this. Even if it's something tiny. It doesn't have to be something massive. Even if it's something tiny. And I was talking to someone else about that. And a few people have been getting this kind of advice recently. If you can't make that big, massive change that you want to, let's do something small. Let's introduce something new into this. Because I feel like it opens up into something much bigger. The Star says that. The Ace of Pentacles or the Ace of Coins there says that. I'm going to talk about the Ten of Wands in a moment because that's the future energy. But have a look over here. The advice is that, where do you see potential? Where do you see potential? That's the acorn. That's planting a new seed. It's time to start working towards something new. Now, if this is in an existing work, relationship, whatever it is, this is that kind of screen wipe. Let's start again. Let's start again. Everything's changed too much, as we need to recommit to this or relearn one another. You know, it's got that kind of an energy to it. Do you see potential in it or not? And even if you don't, in an existing situation, this could be something new that you go towards, and you're ready to plant a new seed. You're ready to plant a new seed. Now, it's interesting, because remember what I was saying about the Star, is that it's so big you may not see it, right? You're looking for something small, so big you don't see it. That's the reverse. And that might be, okay, so if my dream is to be in a long-term relationship, or I want that career, or I want that business, that's my legacy, you can't look for, I mean, what's a long-term relationship? You're not going to meet someone and know everything about them, know their little quirks, know that, you know, which side of the bed they like to sleep on, and that's something that you will learn. You see the potential first and go ahead and work on it and learn that. Excuse me, guys. So in some sense, that's the opposite. This is the dream. It's dream the biggest dream that you can dream and take some action towards it. But the crucial aspect of that is because it's to see the potential in a situation. Because you're about to commit to something. The Ace of Pentacles is commitment. It's building that foundation strong. It's seeing the potential in the acorn, knowing that that can become an oak tree if I grow it, if I plant it, if I, you know, do whatever I need to do with it. That's why it's a card of commitment. And it's kind of big coming after this time of death. Hell yeah. There you go. That's what you feel like you're lacking. You feel like you're lacking this kind of the fire in you. As much as, you know, I have air and fire. My chart is mostly air and fire. And so I understand this. But you can think shit all night and all day. It doesn't make stuff happen. It's action that happens. And I said it from the start, and I'm going to stick with that, is that you would do it. You would so bloody do it, but you just don't know what to do. That will clear up. But how do we do that? Start little things. Little things. Even if it doesn't look like the big star, it's going to lead to that. Trust that. Trust that. You know, I talked about the blank canvas before. This is about doodling. Let's just start doodling something and see what it turns into. Let's be a big doodler. But yeah, with the King of Wands coming up here, you're in your energy now. You're in your power. He goes for it. He will create something new. And that's another thing. Are you looking for something existing when it could be something that you can create? He comes up with the new ideas. He comes up from his inspiration. You know, he's the entrepreneur. But he goes forward based on his inspiration and passion. I'm so sorry, guys. I keep muting the mic because I've been talking all day and my throat is absolutely dry now. 1 second, I'm going to grab some water. Just so I'm not coughing throughout the rest of this. Bloody hell. I think yours is going to be the last one that I do today. Yeah, so with the King of Wands coming up, I love this. I love this because do you see that? You go from this energy of, well, I'm ready to go speak my truth. I'm this new person. I've learned from my experiences. I'm going to go do. I don't know what to do. Eight of Swords, but I don't know what to do. And we end here as the advice with figure out the potential in something, even if it's something small, and believe that through your actions, through the energy that you direct into this, you can make it work. And it has potential if it excites you. It has potential if it fires you up, even if it looks difficult. I think you're ready for a challenge like that. I know some of you are shaking your head saying, no more, Jay. I get it. Queen of Swords has been through hell and back. But the whole point of this, look, we've got the Ten of Wands coming up in the future. And yeah, the Ten of Wands is a burden. It's, you know, we're taking on a lot. And it's time to drop that burden. With death coming here, that's stupid to say that. Because you've already got a blank slate. And I kind of feel like you go from not knowing what to do, from very little, taking on a challenge, and then you've got lots on. I think that's what the Ten of Wands is saying here. You go from hanging around to, you know, so I guess with that, because the future is a projection from where we are, don't bite off more than you can chew. Go small, because it's little things. But I understand, because there's been no traction or movement. You've been hanging around in a tree. So once you come down, it's going to be, well, I want to do this, and I want to go do that as well, and I'm going to do this as well. Let's get one for that Ten of Wands. I love it. You're strong enough to do this. I mean, it's fabulous, and I get it. If you're still at this energy, you're going to be like, I don't see it, Jay. I've no idea how this shit's going to happen. You know, I just don't see it. Any tiny little thing that you see that requires you to move, that requires some action, that requires some kind of challenge, that shows you, I mean, this could be bloody, let's go play football in the park at the weekend. You know, it's that sense of competition with the Five of Wands that counts. Showing what you're made of. Showing what you're made of. Because right now, coming in here, it feels like you're this car with the engine revving. I said this to someone else, I don't remember who it was, maybe Sagittarius, but you know, the engine's revving and you're in park. So any kind of movement, and it's going to open it up. It's going to open up. I always say that the last part of healing is action. And it's the example that I always give. You got thrown off the horse, you broke all your bones, you went off and healed, you know, everything changed. Great, it looks like you healed, right? You learned from that. Well, prove it. We only know that you have when you get back on the horse. And when you're standing in front of that horse, you're going to be afraid. You're going to have fears around that, thinking, well, oh my God, what if I get thrown off again? But she tells you that you learned. You're not going to make the same mistakes. And maybe before you just used to, I don't know, I've never ridden a horse. I would like to though, but you know, I've never ridden a horse. But before maybe you just went around the paddock on the thing, and now you're thinking about getting into racing it, or, you know, breeding horses or something much bigger. That's what it feels like.